And now we are going to go over our next speaker, Kirah. Are you ready?
Okay, so we're doing research on male sea turtles and looking at their movement patterns. Just a quick overview of who we are. We're an NGO established in 2014, currently operating in 5 countries. The biggest of those country programs is the one which I oversee in Belize, where a lot of the tagging work is being done. Our mission is to inspire conservation action for threatened marine species and their habitats, and we're focusing on marine megafauna, those large iconic species like turtles, rays, sharks, and critical to this work is working with local communities. Sea turtles, we know, have a complex life cycle. It makes monitoring difficult, especially when we start talking about those lost years going off into the pelagic, and for males in particular, who never come back to shore. Females, on the other hand, are relatively easy. So we decided, let's go where the gaps are. We know a lot about females due to existing work. When it comes to males, they spend their entire lives at sea. This provides little opportunity to tag and study their movements, and the reproductive behavior of male loggerhead turtles remain a subject of limited information. So we had a few questions. Due to climate change, many nesting beaches are producing mainly females. Will this reduction in the number of males within the population have significant impact on reproduction, survival of the species? Females migrate for long distances. We know their migration patterns. What about the males? How far are they going? How often are they going? Is this something they're doing annually? And Belize, as a country, has banned gill nets in 2020. And so we wanted to know if that gill net ban has impacted megafauna populations, any at all, including sea turtles and loggerheads. We're using a three-prong methodology, looking at distance sampling, in-water transects. We're using video, baited remote underwater videos to look at relative abundance, and we get quite a few of these. Let's see if this will show. There we go. So we look at what shows up on these camera traps. So we're doing underwater camera traps. Go. And we're putting on what I'm going to be talking mainly about today, our satellite tagging. And just for scale, if you see them, you can see how many guys it takes to deal with one of these males, because the males have to be captured in water. So there's in water capture. We can't wait for them to come to the beach. This is just a release of one of those big guys after being satellite tagged. This gives you a scale of how heavy they are. And off it goes. So some of the results that we have so far, since we started tagging in 2022, we've tagged 11 turtles. We have 5 still transmitting, 3 males, 2 females, 1 loggerhead, and a hawksbill. So we're focusing on male loggerheads. However, we had the opportunity to put a tag on a nesting female hawksbill and 1 female loggerhead, which has produced, and I will show you, some very good, interesting data set with that particular female. So things were pretty quiet in 2022 until 2023. In 2023, 2 of the male loggerheads from one of our study sites in Lighthouse Reef, and let me see because I can, yes, there we go. In Lighthouse Reef, one of the offshore atolls in Belize, decided that they're going to start moving north. And it went for 2 months. They spent some time in Mexico, and then they came back down after 2 months. In 2024, one of these same turtles also went north again. One of the challenges we're having with the tags is them transmitting for longer than a few months. Then later on in 2023, we tagged 1 in June out in Lighthouse Reef. This is Belize. Within a few days, by the 3rd of June, this turtle was now off the coast of Honduras in the La Ceiba area, and it stayed there for many months. And then in November, it started moving south. once again, in June 2024, we tagged another male in the north within the same area of the atoll offshore Belize, and it followed the exact same track and went off to Honduras, where it's still sitting at the moment. So we're waiting until November to see where he will go, if he will follow the same track. What the data is not showing us is that there is connectivity for males between Belize and Honduras, Belize and Mexico. And they seem to be following the same tracks coming from the same areas. This is our female Peggy. If anybody has been following MarAlliance on Facebook, Peggy has been quite popular and she's brought us a lot of social media recognition. Peggy was tagged in 2023. She stayed there in the atoll for a year, and then in 2024, she took off, and we thought she was going to Mexico, but she went into the Gulf, ended up in Florida, visited the Bahamas, and at the moment, Peggy is moving between Georgia and South Carolina. So this is just a full blown up picture of the tracking and all the animals that we have been tracking. And anyone who's interested can follow our tracking on our website at MarAlliance.org, and you can see all the animals that we're tracking, or you can even adopt one. So what are our conclusions so far? The males move large distances similar to the females, and they may be servicing multiple areas. A lot more work is needed. We've only scratched the surface, and there is a need for collaboration and regional strategies developed. We've always known that for turtles, we have to work regionally. It's not something that one country can do because of their movements. But what this does is that this gives us direct links as to where are the areas for us in Belize that we need to really collaborate strongly with, and how our turtle population is actually connected to the rest of the region. And I did it in 5 minutes. So thank you guys. That's a very, very quick overview of the work. As I mentioned, we're only scratching the surface of this tracking, and it's only preliminary data at the moment.
Thank you, Kirah, for your wonderful presentation. Kirah's presentation also ties with one of our Tech for Wildlife winners this year. MarAlliance got the first place in the community toys category for photo video story. I think Alex shared the link there. So we are running a little bit over time. I had a question for you. Have you observed any evidence of female sea turtles shifting their nesting sites or altering their nesting behavior in response to these rising temperatures?
Yeah, so I will speak from my previous hat working with nesting, because currently at MarAlliance we're doing mainly in water. However, yes, there's been a lot of, within Belize, there's been a lot of shifting in beach due to erosion and climate change. We're below sea level, and we have seen in one area where they've shifted north. So they're still nesting within the same area, but they relocated the key nesting site to a little bit more, not north, sorry, south. They were mainly in the north, they've shifted south. So they do look for other beaches within the same areas. And this is also happening on some of the small coral keys where they've nested, where some of them have actually completely been, have disappeared. And so they've had to shift, but they tend to find beaches within the same area. So the concern is now with climate change, with sea level rise, and they continue to lose, how far will they shift? How far will this movement go?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kirah. I think there are some comments and questions for you on the chat, so you can pick them up there.